Brand, blah, blah, blah. Here we go again. He's talking about branding. And yes, I am, because some things are happening that you need to pay attention to. And anyone that knows anything about music, art, sports, anything knows that it's not the massive things that you do that makes the difference. It's the repetition of the basics that creates perfection. Think of your golf swing. Think of your movements. Think of your artwork. Think of music. Anything you do, you need to focus on those tiny, tiny little things and the repetition of your act. And that's with branding today. But there's a few things that are going on. Sadly, brands are becoming vulnerable because we're changing. The whole society is changing. Now, if you go back in time, hey, what car are you going to get? I'm going to get a BMW. My family's always had a BMW. I trust BMW. I'm going to buy Levi jeans. I'm going to buy Gap. Whatever it is, Nike, think of everything that you know and the trigger that it creates in the brand that it identifies with. You see, a brand is a promise. You can trust a brand. And that's where the key word comes in. You see, how vulnerable is a brand today? If I say to you, Trump, okay, I don't care about the politics side. What did the riot do to that brand? Okay, here's a bigger one. Will Smith. Did that step out of brand? Now, again, not going into the ins and outs of it, but the bottom line of it is today, we are cynical. We are skeptical. We are looking for the bad in absolutely everything that we do. We don't know what's going on, and we distrust society today. And I wrote the whole book on the thing, on the gotcha society and the cancel culture in Go for Stupid, based on the fact that today, we're very cynical. We want to see the controversy on something, and we want to distrust it very, very quickly. Oh, we knew they were doing that. We're looking for that element. And in brands, that's the exact same thing. Now, we need to identify that your brand is strong and it carries on. Again, a decent brand is like having a house with no foundations or a great-looking car with no engine. Your brand has to be the solid foundation from which you continue. And I was having a conversation with Henry about it at the bike shed yesterday. And we were talking about how your brand identifies with you. And you've only got to sway slightly and it will create confusion. And as we've already said, no one confused will ever give you that credit card. Henry drinks a lot of coffee at the moment. His brand has become identified with the fact that he likes a good coffee. He likes to ride motorcycles. He likes cool jewelry. You know, he's a young, hipster kind of lad. Me, people always expect me in black. Do you know, a while back, I actually wore a white T-shirt while I was doing something. And it was weird. The conversation I was having, the subject I was talking about was actually belittled by the comments on, whoa, where's your black T-shirt? Why are you wearing a white T-shirt? What's wrong with you? You look strange in white. You see, you don't want to rock what the continuity is that you've created. But understand that we don't have the attention that we used to. See, in the past, if something was, must have been a bad shipment, we jump ship quickly today. Loyalty, I hate to say it, but kind of a thing of the past. If you don't keep up what you stand for, if you let your brand slide, if you let your standards slip, then that's going to be to the detriment of your brand. Ask yourself, visually, what is your brand? Now, you may think, oh, I do houses, I do this, but it could be your clothing. It could be the way you speak. It could be the way you show up. It could be everything about you, and it is everything about you. If you create any confusion, and we've spoken about this before in social feeds about where's the continuity of what you look like. With me, I look like this. I've got a whiskey in my hand. Absolutely everywhere. Drinking an old-fashioned, riding a motorcycle, not at the same time. They become my brand igniters. They become my brand keys. What are your brand keys? I'm seriously asking that. You should actually look at your website. You should actually look at your social. You should look at how you send out emails. What does your email look like? How do you converse on social, on a phone call, in real life? Is there a continuity between them? Are you confusing people? And once you've identified those key triggers of you, well, I always show up like this. I always look like this. I always sound like this. Stick to it. And I want you to actually write them down. Many companies have color codes. There'll be literally a code for the colors they use for their logos, and they won't step out of that. Those are defined color codes for that logo. You need those same codes for your brand. If I showed up today and I was wearing a pink shirt, or I was wearing, if I had hair, that would actually rock you. So your brand, identify. What are the triggers that say who you are? Stick to them literally like they are the ingredients of your brand, because they are, and then don't step out of them. We saw, sadly, and I don't know what it was, a mental state, a flick of the switch. We've all had those moments, but we saw what happened to Will Smith, and we've seen the fallout. We saw the car, because quite simply, more than anything, it stepped out of brand. Had the lead singer of Guns N' Roses gone up and done that, or anyone else that was in like some kind of tough image done that, you'd have gone like, yeah, and it'd been like that, because it would have been on point. But it wasn't on point for Will. And sadly, Will's actually suffering the consequences of that now by simply rocking his brand. You need to realize that today people are cynical and skeptical, and they're waiting for you to trip up, because as usual, they're waiting to cancel you. They're waiting to move on. They're waiting for you to say something so they can just shift over here and go, well, I don't want to listen to that person anymore. I want to go over there. You need to identify what yours are and then not detract from them. Maybe enhance them, maybe embellish them. And if you are going to move over, you do it gradually. I bought a book ages ago from Taschen. If anyone's ever heard of the Taschen books, they do these massive, great coffee table books. And I bought this book that actually turned out a little bit boring from what I was thinking it was going to be. But it was on logos, and it was on the growth and development of logos. And it was like 2 to 3 pages at a time of a logo. Ford, NBC, Coca-Cola, Nike. Yeah, Nike. And literally just how that logo over a period of time had switched, defined, become a little bit graded from where, you had bold color here. Now there was a gradient of color going through it. But there was a development. Look at the old Universal and NBC Peacock. That's a classic one that people have seen change a lot. Universal's also changed a lot, but over a slow period of time. You see, as people, we don't like change. How many times do you see the new car come out and you go, oh, I like the old one, That's because it's a change, and you've got to get used to it. They don't have the chance to do things subtly, okay? You do. If you don't like the brand that identifies you, if you think, well, I don't like that color scheme, I don't like that action, I want to move the way I am, you can feed it in. You can do it gradually, but move with purpose. Move with strategy and structure. Otherwise, you're going to do something very, very quick, and it's going to shock people. And as I said to you before, if anyone's got a kind of moment, they literally are going to turn off, because today we're looking for a reason to do that. Understand, and we've said this before, understand your audience, understand what you stand for, and then understand who you're speaking with. And again, doesn't matter what you're saying, it's how it's received. That's always the most important. So how do you show up? What is your continuity? And can you actually control and harness your triggerable elements of your brand? All right. It's important. Henry's Coffee, me on black t-shirt. In fact, my whole family's black t-shirt. Anyway, these are the Sims Medias. These are here to help you. They're short and sharp, but that'll get you thinking about how you look at your brand. If you have questions, you can always reach out to us at ask@sims.media, send us a DM or whatever. But these are here to help you. You don't have to have any contact with us before. Now, but you do need to pay attention to these things, because they're going to help your business. Anyway, my name's Steve Sims. Look after yourself, and I hope this helped. Bye.